Greetings and salutations, everybody, and welcome to the Glitched Out Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Lord X, and I welcome you to the show again this week. Little late, but we're still here to go through everything nerdy in the realm of gaming. We're going to chat about what we've been playing. We got a bunch of news to go over. We got a topic of the week that should be kind of interesting, given that we're mostly PlayStation fans here. And yeah, that's about it. So joining me on this show once again, the one, the only, Israel Pacheco.
Finish the fight. That's kind of ironic, especially what we're going to be discussing in our topic of the week. But what's going on, man?
Oh, this is it. It's been a busy week, to say the
Yeah, I know. We've been trying to get this recorded for a few days.
Yeah.
But we've had like conflicting schedules and stuff, so.
Yeah, our usual recording times, either I've been working or you've been working, so
yeah,
it was hard. But yeah, we're here, and well, let's just dive right into her, I guess. That's what he said. I don't know. I'm tired. So yeah, let's start off this show, how we start off every show, with what we've been playing. And Izzy, what have you been playing this week?
Let's start off with the crap, and the crap is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5.
What?
No, I didn't buy it. I just rented it. I actually took it back this morning because it was that bad. So no Redbox trick over here. But yeah, this game has been the worst reviewed game of the year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
It's gotten pretty slammed. I think it's in somewhere in the 30s or 40s on Metacritic, which is really bad. Yeah, it's not as bad as like a 3, right? But it's not good either. Mm-hmm. It's very, very mediocre. I gave it a shot. I played through the first level of the game, which is the barracks, I believe it's called. I did all the missions, all the regular missions, not the pro missions. I collected skate, collected the DVD, collected the tape, all the side stuff that you do in the Tony Hawk games. And it was pretty mediocre. If this game would have released at $15-20 as a downloadable title, I would have been fine with it, right? Because it's decent. Like, I didn't have any issues like other people did, falling through the world or getting stuck on thing or glitches or anything like that, which I was surprised because all the footage that I've seen has been like a glitch fest, pretty much. So it's not terrible, but it's not very good. You could see that this was rushed to cash in on the Tony Hawk license running out over at Activision, right? Mm-hmm. Everything is there that's in your typical Tony Hawk game, right? Like the soundtrack is full of like punk rock bands and mixed with a little hip hop, and you have the intro sequences like they always did with Tony Hawk, a bunch of footage of him skating and then all the other people who were in the game. So everything's there, but it feels like it's kind of soulless. Like it was really just a cash in, which is unfortunate. And I wasn't going to waste any more of my time with it. Like I said, I took it back to Redbox earlier today because I had way better things to do and play, which is really unfortunate. But I was hearing so many bad things about it that I just had to play it for myself to see if it's really that bad. And it's not really that bad. It's just very mediocre. It's very bland. Like, there isn't much there. If it would have been a downloadable title, fine. But a $60 retail release, they're crazy. They're really crazy for putting this out. But I'm sure it's going to do well. I work in retail, and it sold out the first week we had it. And we just got a bunch of other copies in, at least on PS4, which is a platform that most people buy stuff on. This generation, and we got a bunch of copies in, so I was really surprised about that. So they're definitely going to hit sales figures, whatever they are for this game, but people are going to definitely feel burnt at $60 because I played the last one that they did, the same studio they did Tony Hawk Pro Skater HD, which is pretty fun. I enjoyed it. It was a remake and mashup of 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't that bad. I enjoyed it when it came out, but that was $15, and that was on Xbox Live Arcade / PSN, which is, that's a fair deal. But this game, this is unacceptable. It's really a shame because this seems to be the end of the road for Tony Hawk. And maybe it's just a series that needed to end because a lot of the mechanics that are in this were in the original game, but maybe that just doesn't hold up to today's standard and you need a little more, I guess, evolution for the series, which I haven't really seen because I haven't kept up with the recent releases besides the HD and this one. So it's a shame. I wouldn't recommend it at all. There's plenty of other fantastic releases that are coming out at this time of year, or even stuff from earlier in the year that you could pick up for a good price. So don't waste your money on this.
No, if you're in Canada, speaking of good deals, I saw that Best Buy has the Order 1886 for $20 now. So
that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's a good deal. That's definitely like a good price to play that game.
Okay, diving into my list, I'll start off with a Vita game, and that's I've been playing The Wolf Among Us again on the Vita. Haven't gotten very far yet, but just replaying that game, it's good, but Telltale really needs to fix their engines. They really do. It's a bit of a glitchy mess, I'll say that much.
That's what I was going to ask you about, because I heard the Vita versions are even glitchier than the console releases.
It really feels like it, yeah, and the loading times they feel longer, even though I know playing it back on the PS3 it felt long, but man, like setting down, I think I fall asleep during the loading times and wake up before they're finished again. But yeah, I'm enjoying... But yeah, I'll be playing through that. Mainly get the platinum trophy again, but
those are pretty easy platinums, right? It's just like you have to get through the game and maybe do some choices, right? It isn't difficult, right?
No, it's not difficult at all. Like you said, play through the game and then go back and replay a couple of different chapters to get different outcomes, just so you unlock different books of fables. Yeah. So yeah, that's one I've been playing.
Yeah.
Not much I can
you've
say.
You've playing a lot of Vita recently.
I have. To be
honest, the last few weeks.
I played my Vita, I think, more than my Wii U, which is kind of sad.
Until Mario Maker hit, which that kind of brought you back. But yeah, I guess I'll move into the next and last game that I have here on my list. I haven't been playing much this week, and it was because I was waiting for this to come out, and that is the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection on PS4, which I pre-ordered right when they announced it, sometime in June was it, I think. So I've been waiting for this for a while. And I hopped into Uncharted Drake's Fortune because I want to play them in order. I don't want to skip around. And I gotta say, I'm really impressed with the upgrade that Blue Point Games has done with this game, which is the Port House who did this project. I'm really impressed how good the original game looks, because I don't think it even looked this good when it was originally released on PS3 back in 2007. Like, they definitely touched up the character models and the cutscenes and the environments. It looks like a lot more detail. Of course, it's running at 1080p, 60 frames a second, so that makes it look even better. I'm really impressed with what they've done so far. I'm almost at the end. I think I'm about 78%. That's what it said on the last save that I did before we started recording this. So I'm almost done with the game, and
oh wow,
it definitely holds up pretty well. You could tell it's an earlier PlayStation 3 game in terms of its mechanics and the controls and stuff, but they definitely improved it. Like, it feels more in line with Uncharted 2 and 3, so it doesn't feel too dated. I want to see moving into Uncharted 2 and 3 how those games hold up, especially since they're more recent. And that's crazy to think it's been 8 years since the original Uncharted game came out. So it's almost a decade ago, and it holds up pretty well. I'm interested to see what people think picking this game up when they get the collection, because I heard a statistic that said 80% of PS4 owners never played the Uncharted collection. I think that came from Naughty Dog themselves, right? They said something similar this week, why they thought this was going to be a system seller for them. Because a lot of people missed out on this franchise last generation being on the Xbox 360 because it's not available on it. So overall, closing thoughts. I think what they've done so far is fantastic. I'm really looking forward to see Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3 and see how those games look, because if the first game looks this good, I'm sure 2 and 3 look even better. So
Yeah.
highly recommend it. If you guys have just gotten a PS4 and had a 360 last generation, definitely check out the Nathan Drake collection.
Nice. Yeah, I was tempted to pick that up today, actually.
Yeah,
but I held back.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see. You could always wait for a price drop, especially since
Yeah.
you've played this series before.
Yeah, and there's other things out now I want to buy, so yeah. So
Yeah.
before we move on. Okay. Before we get copyrighted.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next up on my list here, I played some more Lego Dimensions. I got through a few more of the levels. I did the Doctor Who one, the Back to the Future one, and I did one more. Oh, the Aperture Science level from Portal 2. I got through those 3.
And those are the ones that are included in the game, right?
Yes.
Not the expansion stuff.
No, not the expansions. This is
Okay.
in the game itself. And man, like the attention to detail and stuff that they put in were awesome. Like going through the Doctor Who stuff, like seeing the weeping angels and the way they did that in there, it was terrifying. It was Lego form in a Lego game, but they still put the care into that franchise to still make by far the most terrifying creatures in all of Doctor Who feel terrifying in this game, because you had sections where you were trying to solve a puzzle, but every now and then the lights would go off and come back on. The angels would be surrounding you. It was creepy. It was really, really cool, though. The Back to the Future stuff was... I never caught on right away, because when you get dropped into the level, it's like you're in the Old West. It's like, oh, this is interesting, in the Old West. And then it's like, oh, there's Seamus McFly. It's like, oh, Jesus, I'm in the 1800s Back to the Future. Awesome. Doc Brown shows up in the DeLorean. It was cool. It was really cool. And they kind of set it so that it was from Back to the Future Part 2, where Doc disappears, you actually see from his point of view what happened right after that. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah, it was nice. And the Aperture Science level, that was incredible for a couple of different reasons. At one point you're opening rifts to, help solve puzzles, and you open up a rift in front of a bunch of turrets, and what comes out? The Daleks from Doctor Who. And they they do their own catchphrase, exterminate, exterminate. And after it's done, GLaDOS is like, what was that creature just now? It was yelling exterminate. I think I kind of like it. That was awesome. And the boss battle with GLaDOS was cool, because do you mind spoilers on this, by the way?
No, I don't mind it. I haven't played Portal before, so...
Oh, okay. Well, while you're fighting GLaDOS in the battle, at one point you open up another rift and something comes out to distract her. It's HAL 9000 from 2001, A Space Odyssey. So you have these two,
AIs.
yeah, evil AIs, talking back and forth to one another. I sat back just smiling. I forgot to finish doing what I was doing. I was smiling at their conversation. Oh, it was so brilliant. I am in love with this game. It is absolutely great. I think it's probably the best Lego game I've played, to be honest with you. I've resisted buying more stuff so far. I want to, but I've held back, thankfully. But yeah, I'm in love with this game. It is so great. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go for the platinum because it's not a hard one by the looks of things. Not as like the other Lego games. They're pretty easy platinums. They're a bit tedious, but you can get them fairly easy. This one,
Yeah, I know Greg was talking about that, right? That it's
yeah,
pretty
it's
easy.
yeah, it's like the easiest Lego platinum ever. So
That's cool.
probably be going for that in the near future. Let's see, what else have I been playing? I've been playing Super Meat Boy on the PlayStation 4 and Vita. Thank God for cross-save. And it's, simultaneous cross-saving. Like, what was the other game that did that recently? Was it Shovel Knight, I think? They did
Well, you could download the file. Like
Right.
you save it, upload it to the server, and then hop on the other system and download it.
Yeah.
So is this one like more seamless? Like it just does it automatically?
It just does it automatically.
Okay.
There was another game that did that recently, but
Yeah, I'm trying to think of it. I know what you're thinking about. I just can't remember the name of the game.
yeah. But anyways, I've been playing that. The game is still fantastic. The downside though is they couldn't use the original soundtrack again because of licensing issues.
Yeah.
So I'm going to admit there's a few tracks that don't really match up anymore. So it doesn't feel as great in that way, but the platformer's still awesome. It's still hard as fuck. Love every minute of it though, and probably I'll stream some of it so I can stick up onto this podcast. So yeah, I played that, and...
Damn, you played a lot this week.
Well, the last thing I have here to talk about, I haven't played a lot of... I basically putted in, and that's been about it. Though I have remembered I did play something else as well. Aside from
That's what she said.
I played Disgaea 5 for a little bit. I actually haven't even gone into a battle yet, so basically I put it in, did the little opening sequence and saved it. I've been getting way too distracted, so hopefully we'll be playing more of that later. But the last thing that I played last night, which I just remembered, I tried out the Battlefront beta.
Oh, that's right. How is it?
It's absolutely gorgeous. It may be the best, well, next to like Until Dawn and The Order, the best looking PS4 game I've played. Like, it is stunningly beautiful. I'm really impressed by how nice they have it looking. It plays well. I tried it multiplayer once. I got my ass handed to me, essentially. Like, I was unable to do really anything. I think I killed maybe 2 people. I tried out the Horde mode, essentially. That was fun. I actually did enjoy that. It was fun. It's solid. It's Battlefront. Like, it is Battlefront. If you played 1 and 2, you know what you're getting into with this one. So yeah, it's good, but at the end of the day, it still wasn't enough to make me go, oh, I have to buy this on day 1 now. I have to get this. Like, not feeling that at all. I'm still going to wait till it, gets cut in half in terms of price.
Yeah, I think, I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of worried about this game having the Titanfall syndrome, which is people are very excited about it, then it comes out, people play it for
Well, it has no campaign.
about a month, and then that's a wrap, right? Like,
yeah. If it had something else like a campaign to it, it would be great.
I think this is clearly DICE was rushed for this. So they had to pick between having a half-ass multiplayer and a half-ass single player and just having, a kick-ass multiplayer. It definitely were pressured to have this out by the time The Force Awakens released.
Yeah.
That's what I think happened in this case. That's why there's no single player, which would be fantastic, especially from what you're saying. Single player built with this engine, with these gorgeous graphics, visiting all those different Star Wars locales would be awesome. But Yeah, I think they were pressed for time, and it was kind of rushed on that end, unfortunately. But
Mm-hmm.
at least it sounds like it's good. My buddy CJ texted me earlier. He was like, "I've been playing it for 3 hours straight." I was like, "Really?" I'm like, I've been holding off of it because of like betas within the last like year or two, like Street Fighter. I was really excited for that. Then it came out. It didn't even work, so it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. Then Destiny, I played the alpha and the beta, and that ended up being like 60 to 75% of what the actual finished game was in terms of content, which is really disappointing. So I don't want to burn myself out where I play this for hours and hours and none of your information transfers over. So there's no incentive for me to play it because
Yeah.
once the new version comes out, your
Yeah,
stats
back to
reset.
square
So
one.
I just figured it. I just wait. I know everybody's going crazy about it. Like, oh, my other buddy David's like, oh yeah, the Battlefront beta's out. Like, I'm gonna download it, but I'm just holding off for now.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and that's it for what I've been playing this week. Though I did load up Kung Fury again.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Anyways, let's dive into the news. And
So
Izzy,
yeah.
why don't you kick us off with the first story?
So let's get it in. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. I was trying to make some shovel joke. But anyway, speaking of shovels, Shovel Knight, the retail release has been delayed. It's going to be coming out on November 3rd in North America, October 30th in Europe, on the PS4 and the Wii U, but not the Xbox One. And it's also getting a price increase. It was
What?
originally going to be $19.99 or around $20. Now it's 25. And Yacht Club Games has come out and said they wanted the game not to be put in the so-called budget section, really, of like a retail store. As someone who works for retail, I could understand their mindset for this, but it kind of sucks that they jacked the price up
Yeah.
for the game when they originally announced it. What's cool though, it brings a game, right? It brings a Plague of Shadows DLC and some bonus stuff. Um, what's strange is the Xbox One retail version got canned. I'm guessing this comes down to licensing. Specifically, probably has to do with the Battletoads. Because if you guys remember, the Xbox One version had the Battletoads as like secret boss characters, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the PlayStation version had Kratos, which I actually never encountered. I don't even know how to encounter him because I played through it
Really?
on Vita and PS4, and he never showed up for me. I don't know. That's weird. But anyway, yeah, that's just strange. Couple of strange announcements coming from Yacht Club Games. Xbox One version canned, and the price has gone up, and it's been delayed a few weeks. So yeah, I'll still probably be picking this up, even if I don't buy physical releases. I think this game like is
It
so
warrants it.
awesome
Yeah.
that I want to support them even more because it's a really awesome game. So, what do you think about this news? It's kind of strange in my opinion.
Yeah, it is strange. I mean, like yourself, I guess I can understand the price increase thing. The delay, yeah, it happens. Especially this type of year. We've seen so many like release dates get pushed ahead. But yeah, it sucks. Especially for Xbox fans who wanted to get a physical release of the game. That's really, really sucky for them.
Yeah, it does. It does suck for the fans who wanted it, but
Mm-hmm.
they always got the other platforms to pick it up on if they own one. If they don't, well, they're kind of
Yeah.
screwed on that front.
Mm-hmm. I think personally I might pick up the Wii U version.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah, it's
even
not bad.
or the
A
3DS one, I
3DS.
think.
Yeah, that one still comes out later, right? The 3DS version.
Yep.
I don't think it comes out at the same time, but...
Mm-hmm. All right, well, I guess we can move on into our next batch of news here. We have another release date, and that's Tales from the Borderlands. Episode 5 has been announced. That's right, Telltale Games has announced the season finale of Tales from the Borderlands will arrive on October 20th for PC and Mac, PS4, and PS3. October 21st for Xbox One and Xbox 360, and October 22nd on iOS and Android-based devices. Episode 5 is called The Vault of the Traveler. I wonder if it's Destiny related. And a new game trailer gives some insight into what fans of the series and Telltale can see. Additionally, Telltale has also revealed the first episode of the series, Zero Sum, is now available to download for free on consoles as well as mobile devices. That's right, so if you haven't checked out Tales from the Borderlands yet, jump onto your PS4, PS3, 360, or Xbox One and download that first episode right now. It is well worth playing, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So yeah, this is awesome. It's also coming out the exact same day as Life is Strange Episode 5. It's also coming out the same day as Tales from Zestiria. So Lord X is going to be busy that day.
Yeah. I don't think anything that I want comes out that day. I think it'll be a week later, I believe. It's when Halo drops, and I think also WWE drops the week after, I think. Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken, but yeah.
The only question I have about this is, where the fuck is Game of Thrones Episode 6? Because we've had an episode of Tales from the Borderlands in between. We have not heard heads or tails of Game of Thrones since the last one came out in, I want to say it was July.
Wow. It's been that long?
Pretty
Jeez.
sure it has. I gotta double check, but...
Maybe George R. R. Martin decided to kill it off like he does with all the damn characters in the franchise. But yeah, that's strange that it's been so long since that was originally released, and yeah, strange.
Yeah, and I think their Telltale game, the game based on their own company. I mean, their Minecraft game comes out a week before, I believe, the 13th.
Yeah, around that time.
Oh God, that's in a couple of days. God damn it, that's more to buy. Izzy, take us into our next news story, please.
All right, so the last and final news story for this week is a price drop.
We've got one more story after this.
Wait, did he send me an updated one? Because this is the last one we have.
Maybe I forgot to save
it's the topic of the week, might be, that you're thinking of.
No, I have another one on my list. But you continue. I'll talk about it.
Okay, yeah. So the outdated last one is about a price drop, and that price drop is for the Sony PlayStation 4 going into this holiday season. Starting today, October 9th, the day we are recording this, the day the Uncharted collection has come out. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a price drop of $50, at least here in the States. It's only looks to be $20 if you're in Canada, right?
Yep.
Yay.
Now you can buy a PS4 and a Starbucks coffee for the price of an original PS4.
That sucks. But anyway, at least here in the States, there is a $50 price drop, and this is going to be effective with all the upcoming releases, which today dropped the Uncharted Nathan Drake PS4 bundle. Later on next month, the Call of Duty bundle, Disney Infinity, Star Wars Battlefront, etc. What's not explicitly detailed in this is bundles that are already on shelves, like The Last of Us, Destiny, Batman, for example. I don't know if those are still $400. I would assume they're $50 cheaper.
I believe they are, yeah.
But this only details like the upcoming bundles, so I'm not 100% clear on that. But it's cool. that they're doing this, especially after they dropped the price over in Japan about a month ago or so, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it makes perfect sense going into the holiday season with Xbox being so aggressive with their bundles, which we keep making fun of. Is they got like 15 different bundles and all these deals, all these package games included. So PlayStation has gotten aggressive and dropped the price to $349, which essentially makes both systems the same price for the same amount of gigabytes. And I think this is great. The more competition in the space, the better for us, the better deals we get.
Indeed.
I think this is great. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Sony didn't need to do this at all because they're still outselling Xbox incredibly well.
Mm-hmm.
So for them to drop the price like this, that's another bomb in the water, I guess, against the Xbox ship.
Yeah.
We do actually have a question in regards to this from Twitter.
Cool.
Instead of going,
it's a miracle.
Praise, I don't know, Shohei Yoshida.
Okay, yeah, I'm down. Praise you.
So instead of waiting for the questions section, we'll answer it here. And this comes from G. Baptista on Twitter, aka Levitz from Outlaw Gamer Society. Do you feel the price cut will be enough motivation to steer customers to PS4 over Xbox One this holiday season? Like last episode, we talked about how many bundles Xbox has coming out, one after the other, and they announced a Fallout one after we were done recording.
Yeah.
So
they announced like 10 more after we were done recording.
Yeah.
They just kept announcing them, jeez.
They're fucking Oprah Winfrey. You get a bundle, and you get a bundle.
Everybody gets a bundle.
So yeah, they went bundle crazy. So, this was the best move I think PlayStation could make. I mean, yes, they have some good bundles themselves, like the Uncharted collection. That's an excellent bundle for anybody, picking up a PlayStation for the very first time.
Yeah, that would be the one I would recommend 100%.
So, yeah, I feel the price cut could be enough to steer customers to PS4.
I think it will, especially with Uncharted, the franchise, which was, like the staple franchise of the PS3 generation. There's a lot of people that didn't play this series because they were on Xbox 360 or PC. And now they have PS4s or are interested in getting a PS4. A perfect place to jump in at $350. You get 500 gigs and an Uncharted collection. I sound like some marketing person for Sony right now. I really do. But it's just my honest opinion. It's my favorite franchise of last gen, so I think it's great. And I know there's people who are interested in playing that, especially leading into Uncharted 4. They have the partnership with Call of Duty. Mm-hmm. That system looks horrendous in terms of the aesthetics. Like, it looks terrible. But it'll move units because there's a lot of people who enjoy Call of Duty. I enjoy the Black Ops series. Then they got the Star Wars Battlefront / Disney Infinity bundles. I'm sure those are going to do great, especially with Vader on the side of it, which the design of the console looks really cool. I don't know about the controller. I don't like the controller, but the console itself looks pretty sweet. Mm-hmm. And they have such great marketing with all these third-party relations. They pretty much did what Xbox did last generation, where you remember every time you would see a commercial, it'd be a third-party game, but they would be like exclusive content coming first to Xbox, or the Xbox 360 logo at the end, or whatever the case may be. They're doing that again. And it's cool that Sony's getting competitive because it seemed like they, like you said, they didn't have to do this. Like, they really didn't, but they're getting very competitive, which is good for the marketplace. I kind of feel bad for Xbox. Once they announced this, I was like, man, they're trying so hard, and still Sony's just like, what? You guys are trying hard? Hit the price drop button, and we're gonna get on your ass. Like,
Man, I
Man.
wonder how poor Nintendo feels in this situation.
Nintendo's like,
yeah, guys, we got
Mario
games
Maker.
too.
We got amiibos.
They're back on shelves now.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that since we always talk like PlayStation versus Xbox. We never really throw Nintendo into the discussion. But yeah, this is gonna hurt them too.
Oh yeah.
Because the Wii U's $300, $50 more gets you a PS4 or an Xbox One. That is a problem, Nintendo. If anybody needed to drop their price this winter, it was Nintendo.
Yeah.
Why don't just drop it to $200? Just do it. Move units. Like, you're not moving these anyway. You're moving games. Like, the games are selling really well for the people who own the system. Like, Mario Maker's over 1 million sold. Splatoon's like at 2 or more. Smash, Kart, they're all doing excellent. Yeah. But the systems themselves, they're not moving.
No. They're having like a Vita problem where they have a high attach rate, but they're not selling more systems.
Yeah, it's... To be honest, it should have been them who dropped the price. Now they're in... it just doesn't... Anyway, let's move on before we get into another Nintendo rant. Hopefully in 2016, they get their act together.
Mm-hmm. Before we dive into the last news story, I just want to go back to the Telltale Game of Thrones thing because I actually found a list here. Episode 1 released December 2nd, 2014. Episode 2 released February 3rd, 2015. So, look at that fucking gap right there, 3 months. The next one released March 24th, 2015, 1 month later. Episode 4 was May 26th, 2015. Again, not bad, 2 months. Episode 5 was July. So, again, not bad, 2 months. But it's been July 21st since we've had an episode of Game of Thrones.
Jeez.
August, September. This is October. This is 3 months in, and we haven't heard a damn thing. Like, jeez, that gets on my nerves. Anyways, let's talk about something really nice here. This is a release in Japan, but gives us hope for here in the West. Star Ocean Second Evolution for PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita launches October in Japan. That's right. The downloadable re-release of Star Ocean Second Evolution, one of the greatest RPGs of all time, will launch for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita this month in Japan, Square Enix has announced. The game will feature the following enhancements. New opening theme song, sung by twin duo Rina Eri. Trophy support, the main thing that matters. Paid gameplay support DLC, think items, paid level ups, etc., the usual for JRPGs, and graphics and background music quality increase. And there is a teaser trailer you can watch over on Gimitsu as well. So as a Star Ocean fan, I'm excited for this. I really hope it does get a Western release. Definitely would love to play that game again. I played it briefly on the PSP when they released it there, but never was able to really dive into it very much.
So this is a re-release of a remake? Or is it just a re-release of like its own standard game?
I think it's a re-release of its own standard game.
Okay.
The one that was released back on the PlayStation 1.
Okay. Interesting. But yeah, I'm sure Square has been turning things around lately when it comes to releasing things. Like Dragon Quest Heroes comes out next week, I think, right?
Yep.
Which that I was completely surprised that we're getting that here.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
Keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah, they have done amazing work this year. I mean, they've announced the Final Fantasy VII remake. Final Fantasy 15 looks incredible and is like an apology for Final Fantasy 13. Final Fantasy 14 has been doing insanely well. Dragon Quest Heroes is coming out. They revealed Dragon Quest 11 in Japan, and I'm calling it right now. PSX, it's going to get confirmed for North America, for the PS4 at least.
You think so?
I think so. I think that's going to be one of the big things announced at PSX this year.
I'm excited for PSX. I think there's going to be a lot of like, not huge announcements, but more like niche stuff like that. That I guess like the hardcore PlayStation fans, which makes sense because this is what the event is for.
Yep. Look at back at last year, what we saw released. But yeah, Square's been doing an incredible job this year. They're really, they're starting to come back to being the Square Enix that they used to be.
Yeah, they're steering the ship in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. They even de-augmented your pre-order.
Yep. Oh man.
Yeah. We didn't have that in the notes, but the whole augment your pre-order has been, canceled essentially. Now everybody gets everything from what I read.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, so with the news out of the way, it is time to dive into our topic of the week.
Toss. Toss some salad. No.
Well, you know who's tossing up some shit? Phil Spencer.
Phil Spencer. That sounds like you were going to say.
That's what I was going to say, yes. I was going to combine his name into one.
Spencer. Yeah. Let's flip it up, but...
So, yeah, in an interview, Phil Spencer admitted that he doesn't know if Xbox can beat PlayStation now, at least for this console generation. Things are rough when, the head of a
Xbox
company says this. Yeah.
He's the head of Xbox. Like, man, I like this guy. I really like how honest he is. Like, I've liked him since he stepped up to the plate. I know he's been with Xbox for years, and we've seen him at like E3s in the past, in his previous roles. But then once he stepped up to the plate and became the head of Xbox after the mess that they had with what's his face, the deal with the guy, whatever, Don Matrick, which I actually pulled up another article here, and he actually, without referencing or like speaking, like saying his name, he's pretty much referencing the situation with Don Matrick, where he's talking about the morale of the people over at the Xbox division at launch and how the teams felt that they've put so much work and effort to this, and because of the people higher up, they kind of messed it up for them. And it's completely honest. Like, I think it's great to see such transparency for somebody's, in such a prominent role like Phil Spencer. I think this is awesome. And like you said, he's saying that they don't think they could overtake PlayStation this console generation. They have such a lead over them. But it's cool that he's proud of the product that Xbox has. He's really proud of the content and the games lineup that they have. But yeah, he's talking about the issues that the Xbox team has to deal with, and like their customer base, like they gotta regain the trust and the confidence from their consumers and turn things around. And he's being completely honest about this. And ever since he took the reins, things have, kind of, we were talking about, putting the ship in course for Square Enix. He's doing that for Xbox. They got rid of Kinect. They dropped the price. They started focusing on their, first-party exclusive titles. Backwards compatibility was announced at this year's E3, which was a huge deal for a lot of people. I think that was a great move. They've done, fan service stuff like Rare Replay. Yeah, it's just so honest. Like, I think the only like other really honest person in the games industry in a position like that I know of is Shuhei.
Yeah. Like
Shuhei Yoshida. Like, he's just very honest, very blunt. And I think this is great. It's like this is their Shuhei. Like, Phil Spencer, and I always see him like on Twitter, like retweeting photos of people that have taken pictures with him, like across the world. Like recently today, I saw him. I think he's somewhere in South America, if I'm not mistaken, promoting the Xbox brand. I think it might be even in Brazil, if I'm not mistaken. But he's out there and he's communicating with people. Um, he's becoming that person that he should be, like Shuhei. He's becoming their Shuhei, right?
Yeah.
Um, I think this is awesome that he's being so honest, but I want him to be, very competitive too, and they've been competitive. We talked about the bundles and the price drops and their lineup for this fall, which is, you can consider it better than what PlayStation has to offer, because PlayStation has a lot of third-party deals, but those games are still going to be hitting Xbox. Like Battlefront is still hitting Xbox, Black Ops is still hitting Xbox.
Yep.
Destiny's still hitting Xbox, so they got Halo coming, they got Rise of the Tomb Raider, Forza just came out recently, so did the Gears of War remake, Rare Replay. They got a very nice lineup, and it's cool that they're much more humble now into this console generation. I would really like to see how things would have shaken out if Phil Spencer was the head at launch. Because last generation, Xbox, they were leading PlayStation for a while. It wasn't until the end where PlayStation overtook them in sales worldwide. But Xbox has a huge presence, at least here in the States, as far as last generation. But moving into this generation, they had so many missteps, and he talks about the whole Don Matrick. That guy was an idiot. And all the things they were saying. And he speaks about that candidly. He's talking about, the DRM, always online and everything. Like, he says this stuff, which is really, really cool that he's so honest. And I commend him for being so honest. And it shows you that he's trying to do the right thing and regain people's confidence with the Xbox brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed. I mean, it is refreshing to see somebody in his, power, especially at Microsoft, who's always been, hate to say the word, but, kind of up their own ass all the time about it. Essentially, this generation, they kind of went the same route PlayStation did when they came in with the PlayStation 3.
Yeah. They thought they were the head honchos.
Yep. They could do anything
system.
that they wanted, and people would just follow along like a little flock. But yeah, it's refreshing for him to say this, and I mean, this leads into like our topic here. It's that, can Xbox come back to beat PlayStation? I mean, it's possible. We look back at the last console generation, PlayStation was behind for pretty much the entire quote-unquote race, but did pull ahead, I think, near the end of the generation. Yeah. And so it is possible that they can come back, but what can they do at this point? Like, I mean, Sony really has taken them, well, they haven't taken them by the balls, they've ripped their balls off, and they were, like, lapped them around the track at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts because last figures I heard...
And I mean, they're not going to do it by bundle after bundle after bundle.
Last figures I heard, the PS4 is like at 25 million worldwide, right? Yeah. I haven't heard sales figures for Xbox One in quite some time.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Last I heard was 10 million, but to be fair, that was a while ago. They haven't updated their numbers as far as I know. Maybe they're at 15 now, hopefully. I don't know. This fall is going to be very telling because you got a brand new Halo game. Like, you got Halo 5, which is undoubtedly Microsoft, Xbox's biggest franchise, right?
Their golden boy.
Exactly. It's their Mario, essentially. It's their icon. So they have that coming out this fall. Then they have the exclusive deal with Tomb Raider, which I think it is going to move units because it is a year of exclusivity with Rise of the Tomb Raider for console. It's still going to hit PC sometime in the spring, but we've seen the issues with PC releases in recent memory, especially Batman. So we'll see how that shakes out. They got Forza. They got stuff coming next year that looks good. Gears of War, Scalebound.
Quantum Break.
Yeah, they got some good stuff coming out. So it's going to be very telling this holiday. And like I said, it made me laugh, but at the same time I was sad when Sony announced that price drop because I was like, damn, Microsoft is trying so hard.
Yeah.
Like they're trying so hard.
Yeah. Like you're saying right now, this is going to be a telling fall. Like, do people flock towards those exclusives or not? Because I think next year things are going to change up. Sony's going to be coming out with exclusives left, right, and center. They got Street Fighter. Yes, it's on PC as well, but a lot of that could be said the same way about Microsoft exclusives. Most of those show up on PC.
Yeah.
So they got Street Fighter. They got Uncharted. They got Horizon Zero Dawn.
Plus the stuff that we don't even know yet,
Exactly.
They got Last Guardian supposed to hit next year.
What Colin Moriarty brought up on the last episode of P.S. I Love You, XOXO. Like, every quote-unquote exclusive we've seen from Sony this year has been second party. Like, we really haven't seen anything first party from any of the Sony developers, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah, like, they got a lot of studios.
Yeah, like Sucker Punch, Sony Ben. What are those guys working on? There's so many unknowns right now for Sony. They could come out next year and be like, exclusive after exclusive after
exclusive. They could come out at PSX, right? At PSX and just drop a bomb on everybody. Like, we got all this coming. They announced backwards compatibility. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think best case scenario, they announced that PlayStation Now is included with your PlayStation Plus subscription,
or at least a price drop for it.
Yeah,
it's now
I think it should be
included
with PlayStation Plus. That's the only way I see people using it and them getting some use out of it. But I'm not a financial person for Sony, so I don't know what numbers they need to hit.
Yeah.
For this to be viable for them. But yeah, I don't know if Xbox is going to overtake them. They got good stuff. They got good stuff going on. I got an Xbox One now. Right now I'm just waiting for Halo 5 to hit. I have Rise of the Tomb Raider preloaded already, which I found surprising that so early they let me preload it.
Wow.
Because it was 20. Man. It was like, I was like, okay, it's just going to be the icon like they did for Halo. Yeah. And it just downloaded the little icon, so whenever the game drops, I could download it. No, it downloaded 20 gigs worth of files for Rise of the Tomb Raider. So I was like, what? This is the full game? Like, it's not even out for another month. Like, I haven't even heard it go gold yet. Like,
yeah, I was just about to say that. Jesus.
So maybe it's done and they're just, finessing it out, polishing it up pretty much. That's what I guess at this point. So yeah, they got good stuff coming out. I'm looking forward to Quantum Break sometime earlier in the year. But yeah, PlayStation is so far ahead.
Yeah.
And it's like what everybody's picking up. It's like I was talking about earlier, I work in retail. Most people come and get PlayStations. Xbox is doing fairly well. I gotta be honest with all the bundles. Like, we sold out of the Forza ones.
I saw somebody buying one of those at EB Games the other day, actually.
We sold out of the Gears one, but they brought those in. So they're doing very well with the bundles. It's kind of confusing because they got so many of them. But you could say the same for Sony. Sony's got, like, not nearly as many, but they got 3 or 4 different bundles. So we'll see how it shakes out. I guess sometime in January, February, we'll hear the MPD results for the winter season, right? Yep. Hear what they did in November, what they did in December, and see what happens from there. I'm rooting for them. Like, we might be, more PlayStation centric on this podcast, but to be honest, like 360 was my main system last generation.
It was my main paperweight.
The PS3 had its issues early on. Towards the end of the generation, I definitely became more PlayStation heavy with all the exclusives and all the games that they were putting out, whereas Microsoft wasn't putting much out besides Halo, Forza, Fable. But yeah, it's a good system. I'm looking forward to seeing the fall update that's about to hit pretty soon, where they redo the dashboard. I've watched video of that, Major Nelson talking about that, and it looks like they definitely improved a lot of stuff in terms of their interface. So yeah, I'm rooting for them. I want to see them do good.
Yep. Yeah, if they do good, it keeps competition going, so that works out for everybody. Alright, so I guess that wraps it up for our topic of the week this week. Going into our questions and comments section, we actually do have another question. And it comes from G. Baptista again. And he asked us, what is our take on the voice actors strike? So if people don't know, there has been...
It's a hashtag performance matters, right? If I'm not mistaken, that's what's going around.
Yeah, I believe so. And I believe it was voted on that they can go on strike now whenever they want, I believe. Something like that anyway.
I think the votes came back, and they'll probably go on strike, but they're in renegotiations as of this recording. So,
So yeah, what do you take about this? Is he like?
I think what was it on this week's Outlaw Gamers? Like they had a great discussion about this. They compared it to Hollywood. And how, people in the background, like the camera crew and all that stuff, they don't get paid millions of dollars like, for example, Tom Cruise does.
No.
Because he's the face of the product. He's in front of the camera. But in this situation, these are the voices and a lot of times the motion capture of these characters, but they're not necessarily the face of the person.
Yeah.
So it's not like... on the box of The Last of Us, it says like, Troy Baker, Amy Johnson. Like it doesn't say that on the box. I can't remember any game. Probably like Peter Jackson's King Kong, but that's the director, or Hideo Kojima game with Metal Gear. But where an actor was a selling point. There's been games in the past like that, but it just really doesn't happen. It's usually somebody from Hollywood who comes in and they're like, oh, this guy's in the game. Like whatever that game was with Vin Diesel, that driving game that they did.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like with Vin Diesel or something, right? But yeah, on one hand, I feel like they should get compensated for the work that they do. And get royalties and things like that, because it happens in other industries like these actors do. But think of something in the case of like the Avengers. Like the only one who's really getting paid out the butt there is Robert Downey Jr. He's the one who's making bank because, again, he's getting paid from that. He's getting, royalties from sales of merchandising and things like that. Whereas a lot of people like Chris Evans and some of the other guys, they're not getting paid nowhere near the same amount of money as Robert Downey Jr. And good for him. Like he's making his money. But I don't know. It's kind of mixed. And I know they've brought up this part of the argument too, or developers, they should be also compensated if the game does well, which usually, I don't know, it doesn't happen. Like they just get paid for their work on a game over a duration of time. I really don't know the back end of the business structure. Like, if the publisher is the one who receives all the royalties, like say for example, like Naughty Dog, for example, right? If The Last of Us sells 10 million copies and it's super successful, does that money go to Sony PlayStation? Does that money go to Sony Computer Entertainment? Does it go to Naughty Dog themselves, the heads of Naughty Dogs? Does it go and get distributed within the team at Naughty Dog, within the writers? all this stuff. Like, I don't know how it works. So it's interesting moving forward, especially when voice talent is going to be more and more prominent in video games. Like, this is something here to stay. Like, it's not going to go away. We're not moving backwards to like Jill Sandwich. Like, we're not going back to that unless it's done intentionally.
Oh God, can you imagine?
Like House of the Dead Overkill. Like, it's done, over the top intentionally. So yeah, like I've met like people, like voice actors. Like, I met Troy Baker. He was a very humble, down to earth guy. I'd like to see him get some royalties for the characters that he brings to life. Sure, the game developers have their part, but the actors do too. Like, there's been games in the past, right, where the developers, they create the game, they create the engines, they create the characters, they write the scripts, whatever, and then they play the characters themselves, and that doesn't come off very well. But then they bring somebody like Troy in, and he brings these characters to life, like Joel from The Last of Us, like Amy Johnson playing Ellie, Nolan North as Nathan Drake. Like, that doesn't work without Nolan North's performance, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So it's kind of, it's a difficult situation, because if it was up to me, I'd want everybody to get paid. Like, the developers should get paid for their work, and they should receive royalties, the company, the actors, the writers, the composers, all these people. But I don't know how business works. If they go by the Hollywood model, well, yeah, sure, the people who are in the prominent positions playing these characters, they should receive the royalties for their work.
Yeah. I don't think they were asking for that much. I mean, wasn't it something along the lines of getting royalties if the game sold like 2 million copies?
Exactly. I
5
think
million?
It had like there was different tiers to it. Like, the game reaches 1 million, or then 2 million, or then 5 million. Like, there was different tiers to it. So whenever it hit some sort of like goal, that's when they would receive a certain amount of royalties for the game. And I think they're going to need this, because the game industry is here to stay moving forward. You're going to need these voice actors. And we need more voice actors, because Troy Baker and Nolan North can't do all of this. Like, and Steve Blum and David Hayter, like, all these guys, they can't do all these voices. It's just crazy to think. I just thinking last year, like, how many games Troy was in. He was like in every major release. It was nuts. But yeah, it's an interesting discussion, and I really don't know who's right or wrong in this situation. It was up to me. Everybody's getting paid. Like, everybody receives their money accordingly. But I don't know how that'll work.
Yeah, it's really something difficult to talk about from the outside looking in, especially.
Yeah, because we don't know the behind the scenes stuff and how
exactly
how this happens.
Nor do we have the contacts to learn about this stuff. So.
Yeah, we don't. I don't know anybody who works in the game industry, like, personally. Like, no. So, neither do you, as far as I know.
No.
So
yeah, it's we're interested to see anyway how things go moving forward. Maybe we'll go back to just having text again. Like the good old days, force people to read again.
That's not gonna happen.
Damn it, Izzy, let me dream of old school RPGs again. Anyways, that's pretty much going to do it for the show this week. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. And Izzy, why don't you take us away?
So, thanks for everybody listening to this episode, sticking with us. Let us know in the comment section down below your thoughts on any of the stories we discussed. Shovel Knight's delay, Tales of the Borderlands, I should say, excuse me, release date, the PS4 price drop, the re-release of Star Ocean, Phil Spencer's comments on whether Xbox can beat PlayStation this generation, some of the questions that G. Batista asked us, such as the discussion we just had about the voice actors and the price drops and how that's all going to shake out this holiday season. For Lord X, I am Izzy, a.k.a. Israel Pacheco 89, and we are glitching out.
# fuck Konami.
Hit the lever.